Hey, y'all. It is Caroline Gant.
Hey, y'all. It is Austin Lowen.
And Tyler Blankenship. Hello.
Hello. Good to be here. And what a day it is, Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you did it all
wonder
for
why.
me.
it's a big day.
Yeah.
It's a huge day. Right before we started, Tyler plopped his very own tomato in my spot.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I did.
He
I
did
brought it.
That one tomato that he worked so hard for
It is here in the flesh.
in the studio
Right in
with
front of me.
us.
He even brought a knife and an old paper towel. He even brought this fancy, what is this? It's called the blend. It's a salt and pepper and garlic mix.
Yeah.
Man, I'm about to
He's about to slice into
up.
this tomato.
Okay.
We're doing it as we record.
We are. I'm slicing this as we speak.
He's got a glittery butter knife.
Oh, it's not a great knife. Oh,
Poke a little spot on top and then, okay.
It's definitely like a butter knife. It's not a.
It's a butter knife.
Yeah.
she's pretty in there, though.
Tyler, that is a beautiful tomato.
Really is. I don't know about y'all, but I really like super thin slices of tomato, not like
Are you going to try to slice it thin?
super thin.
All right, if you're listening to the podcast right now, I am recording this. So if you're interested in watching it, I will probably post the video.
I'm not doing great, so.
I'm definitely going to post the video then.
Okay, you know what?
He's going to try
I'm
it.
going for it. I'm putting a little of the sauce on
That
there.
is the tiniest piece of tomato I've ever seen.
Look, the knife is not great. Y'all see when you see the video. Ugh. All right, I'm shaking some of this on.
Okay.
Here we go, Tyler. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm taking your first bite. I'm the first bite of your tomato.
Uh-huh.
This doesn't seem right.
That's what you proposed.
Well, here we go.
Okay. He looks happy.
Yeah.
He's smiling. He's closing his eyes. Is it so good?
It's so good, y'all. Uh-huh. And this little seasoning is good.
Yeah, I smelled it. It smelled really good.
Tyler, he's made my day, man.
There you go.
Thank you. This
All
is
right.
fantastic.
Thanks for encouraging me to grow your tomato.
Well, I loved it, and I'm glad, and I love you, and you're glad. We're all here
We're all
together.
here. We're all here. We're all glad.
Yep. That's a good tomato. I'm about to slice me up some more.
All right.
Probably should talk about something else.
Tyler, how is that tomato plant doing? Do you think you'll get any more tomatoes out of it?
I
Or is it done?
moved it to beside my greenhouse. It's been netted up and kind of leaning over for the past week. So unknown at this point if there's going to be more tomatoes.
Maybe. Mine are still producing. I keep
Yeah,
wanting
never
to
say
pull them out.
never say never. You know?
Keep wanting to pull mine out to put all my fall seeds in because it's time to get those started. And I'm just not ready to say bye to my tomatoes just yet.
No. Nobody's ready for that day.
No,
Yeah.
it's true.
I'm eating another one.
Kev is still, he's going to town over there. He did a better job slicing that last one.
Way
Yeah.
better.
He's going to eat Tyler's entire tomato before we're done with the podcast
No.
introduction.
Tyler
Maybe.
will eat some of this.
Okay. I'm like quite a distance away from Austin, so I can't elbow into the action right
Can't get
now.
over there. Well, other than tomatoes, what's going on in y'all's gardening lives?
You know what's looking real good right now is my petunias. Real nice.
Misties?
Uh-huh.
Or
Misty, lilacs.
or the goth petunias.
They're okay. I didn't chop those in half. I let those kind of be. So they're, I think leggy is kind of the word. Still blooming like crazy. Like really nice. But other than that, yeah, the petunias are really looking good. There's a lot of things that are starting to look bad too. Let's just be honest. Getting to that time of year. This time of year, my Sun King Aurelia is awful.
Mine looks fine because it has not grown in like a month and a half. It just stopped.
Mine got up to full size pretty much, and then now
You said yours gets up to like 6 foot.
it does. It's literally as tall as me. But the topmost part of the plant right now, because it's planted in a too much sun location, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. They are black on top, like black. I remember this happening last year too.
Your house is like all sun.
It pretty much is. I don't get to play with shade plants. It's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I love shade plants.
As
I
I've
have a
gotten
lot.
older, I've started to appreciate them a lot more.
Oh, they're so cool.
Well, they seem, at least if they're in the shade, like they just seem tidy, you know? Like,
They're tidy, and it seems like there's a lot more leaf color for shady
oh,
plants.
definitely right about that.
Like sun plants, I feel like most of them are all just like green leaves, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
Man, is someone coming to get us?
we got distracted by the sirens in the background. It happens.
Have
It's
to
been a
chop that
day of
out.
distractions.
Uh-huh. Tyler, what's happening in your garden over there, man?
Not too much right now. I'm kind of in the daydreaming phase because we got rid of the old porch that was covering the original porch on the front of my home, and I ripped out some hollies. That was quite the excursion to get those out.
I'll say.
And I'm trying to figure out what would go there. And I'm also, because we're getting so much like beautiful color this time of year and specimens, I'm like, trying to piece together what the front could look like.
Okay.
And it's a tricky spot because it does get afternoon hot west sun, but the close to the house it's shaded most of the time. Yeah,
that is a tricky spot. Then
You can get some cool stuff now.
I mean, I usually tell people like they'll ask me like, oh well, I've got some shade, but like I'm like, well, when, and like how much, because 3 or 4 hours late in the day is like full sun.
It's full sun. I will say I have calycanthus in that spot and my Ito peonies in that spot as well, and they're doing great. Prickly pear, you probably don't want that right by your porch, but I got that in that same spot.
Seems like prickly pear live anywhere.
Oh, I've got it in the shade. I've got it in full sun. I've got it laying on my driveway. It's growing. Yeah. It's all over the place.
What's interesting too is that yucca is that way as well.
Oh, yeah. Yucca will grow in the shade. My parents' property has some in like this little grove, fully shaded.
Oh, yeah.
Growing like crazy.
Yeah, for
blooms
just like
everything.
a deserty southwestern plant. Like it can handle shade just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But,
it's just okay.
The other way around is not the thing. Like, some plants can live in the shade a lot of times just fine, but shade plants you can't.
They fry in the sun.
They'll fry.
Yeah. They do
and even if
like
they don't die, they look horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point?
So lots to consider. Yeah, I don't know. My brain is a mess right now, just thinking about all the possibilities.
I know.
So many options.
It's not uncommon.
And we got Isley in, so you're probably thinking even more things because you're looking at all those options out there on our lot. Yeah. Isley truck rolled in yesterday.
It's about time to have a statement piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody needs one.
That's right.
Man, I'm daydreaming about trees right now. This is getting into tree planting time.
We do love trees.
And we got so many deciduous trees in lately. There's been some cool ones coming off. Man, I saw a weeping peach today that I want.
Oh, you don't have one. You need one.
Well, see, like a lot of times weeping peaches, people want like that red leaf variety. Comes out real red or whatever. But as summer draws on, it gets this hideous off green reddish tinge that just like does not do it for me. I don't want it. So today what came in was just a straight green leaf weeping peach. I just want that green leaf.
Did you throw one in the back of your truck?
I'm gonna.
I think you should. You deserve it.
There was something else I wanted too.
And you forgot.
At the moment. It'll come to me.
That weeping bald cypress that we got was beautiful too.
Did we get one in?
Oh, they're already sold.
Oh.
What?
A landscaper buddy of ours came out today and he literally bought one.
What a shame.
He's been looking for years. Looking for one for
but
years.
They're all already sold?
The big one, the big cool ones. There's still some smaller ones, I think, in there.
Well, you know I start small. I never go big.
I like those
Do
too.
you even know me?
Starting small is a great rule of thumb.
It is. It's cheaper. You get to watch it grow. It gets established.
Yeah. It's also kind of annoying.
I'm not annoyed at all.
You get a couple years of like, and then the rest is just pure bliss.
I love it. I love watching them come up.
My problem is like the animals, man. If you start too small, like deer coming in the fall and like rubbing on
That's
a small
true.
tree, like that is so annoying.
I don't ever.
Oh, I do.
I'm inner city with a fenced yard. I don't have that much of an issue.
I'm in the country with an open yard.
With a deer buffet?
They never come. Knock on wood.
At all?
No.
No.
You got a couple dogs. That's helpful.
Oh, yeah, that is helpful.
Yeah.
But no, I got a buck come in every year saying wanting to rub my trees. So fun.
Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm. My bald cypress is really growing now, and I started it as a 15
You have the
gallon.
rise and fall, right?
Rise and fall, yeah, and it's fantastic. Oh, and like not stressed at all either. Like, had a guest ask me the other day, I was like talking about bald cypress, and I was like, bald cypress can certainly live in a wet spot. I mean, it's a state tree of Louisiana. Let's be honest, it could live in the swamps. Send up the knees to get oxygen, whatever. But it doesn't have to. Like, I just plop mine right in the yard.
And it's doing great.
Yeah.
Well, that is kind of that spot where you have all your trees.
That whole side yard, yeah,
It's a little bit wet.
Yeah.
Not wet, but
It's my little tree forest.
I love your tree forest.
It's starting to grow.
It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Tree forests are neat.
I want to add more.
You need to. I've been adding more trees to my tree forest.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop. I
never
planted
stop.
that Tolson's blue weeping juniper.
It's a cool plant.
Its name is Jules. It's planted down by the road, so you can see it when you drive by. It's very cool. It's planted next to my crepe myrtle that has still not bloomed.
So weird.
My purple arrow little blue stem.
Yeah.
And my St. John's wort. Yeah.
Cool.
Fancy little area.
Tyler, what are you shaking your head about?
Oh, just like imagining it as she's
As
she's
I'm
saying
saying
everything.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, we were talking about fall vegetables and how I wasn't ready to take all my tomatoes out, but I did pull some out of one of my raised beds. And I already have little kale seedlings coming up and mustard seedlings. And then I put a bunch of bok choy that I had cooked with the other night. I just wanted to see, because sometimes I'll put them in water by my kitchen window and let them grow up, like romaine, bok choy, all those. And I decided just to stick it down in my raised bed, and it's growing like crazy. It's so happy.
Yep.
I got these little baby bok choys, and they look so cute.
It's been a really good, like, early start, like, to the fall veggie season, like, weather-wise, it seems. Like, still warm enough during the day to get them growing, but still cool enough at night to not get them bolting.
Yep.
So it's been a good start to the fall season anyway. We'll see how that goes around here. You never know.
The Tennessee weather is insane.
Some folks around the country have been warmer and some a little bit cooler, and I guess we kind of got the mix of that.
Yeah, kind of in the middle. Hey, y'all, we got some rain last week, didn't we?
We did. It was so exciting.
My grass is back green again.
Are you so happy?
No, I got to mow it. I had to mow it.
That's
But-
one of my favorite observations is after a rain, after a dry period, you could see things perk up and push new growth, you know?
It's crazy how quick it happens.
It is.
It's making the thistle that's growing right now and blooming go crazy. I noticed that yesterday.
Interesting.
It's finally popping off because of that rain.
There's still a ton of stress things out there, though. It's crazy. Like,
Yep.
specifically this year, for me, it's been dogwood. Dogwood
Yeah.
is highly stressed all around town. Shedding leaves, already turning black, like hardly any good fall color this year.
My big one has great fall color. I have two small ones, and oddly enough, one of the small ones, the leaves are black and kind of shriveled and rolling in. The other one is still green and looking okay.
Yeah.
They're still pretty young, so they don't look that spectacular.
Yeah. Well, around town and just like the native ones on the woods, like,
Not happy.
they're not happy this year. Nope.
Not loving it.
Nope. We got a big cottonwood here on site, on property at the corner. It actually won randomly enough the big old tree contest.
Yep. Got a
Certified.
little plaque.
That's a thing. I went out and hammered a plaque to it. It was like 6 years ago or something. It was great. But it's like, what would you say, 70% defoliated, I would say by now?
Yeah.
Just
It always looks a
hanging
little
on.
rough at the end of the year, but this year is extra rough for
Yep.
it.
It's a cool old tree.
Tons of our cherry trees are already full on dormant. They're just like, no, man, I'm done.
My cherry tree is pushing a bunch of new growth because I finally planted it in the
Oh,
ground.
look at you.
And now it's growing all these new branches and everything and brand new
Let
leaves.
me get situated.
It was like, thank you.
Yeah.
It's going to be very shocked when it's like, oh crap, we're going into fall.
Yeah. Well,
Where we hope y'all get to be able to plant something.
great sentence.
Let me start it over. We hope y'all are able to plant something this weekend in this coming week. It really is going to be nice.
Yes, it is. Great.
Beautiful, Tyler.
Yes.
I'm just going to cut this out.
I think you should leave it.
Nope.
I think you should definitely leave
it's
it.
staying.
Uh-huh.
I think it's staying.
You know, you and a lot of coworkers went in on what was it called? Mount Fuji cherry? Y'all got me years ago?
I don't remember the name of that one. I
think it was Mount
for your
Fuji.
birthday.
For my birthday, yeah.
Tyler went in on it.
Yeah, a lot of people did. It was a beautiful specimen. Well, I planted it, and, you know, can't believe that, but I actually did plant
When
it.
did you plant it?
Oh, I planted that years ago.
Oh.
It's like 3 years old or whatever. But, like, it's never really given me that just hurrah flower show, you know, that I really want. So I'm really hoping next spring comes along and that thing just shows off because it's finally, you know, starting to grow. It's getting there. It's supposed to be its third spring coming up.
Oh, year 3 is always the year.
I know.
For them. Always the year for plants when
Yep.
they're in the ground, they're ready, and then they're
Yeah.
gorgeous.
I'm expecting a burst of color. It better happen or I'm going to,
Rip that tree out of the ground and throw it into the woods.
I ain't going to rip it out. I might kick it a little.
Well,
Don't rip it out.
I won't rip
It
it
has
out.
feelings.
it does. We all gave it to you, so it's a part of all of us.
I love that tree.
Planted
And honestly,
in the ground at your house.
like Yoshino cherries like around town, like certainly are dormant. Like my tree at that Mount Fuji, like it is fully leafed. Like hasn't even thought about dropping any leaves yet, which is kind of rare around here, y'all, for cherries.
I don't know what kind of cherry I planted. Don't remember.
You planted Yoshino.
Is that what I planted?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Glad you know that.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't.
remember that little 5-gallon.
Yeah, it was cute. Little bitty.
I think it's time to plant on into this episode. What do you think?
I think you're right.
Oh, nice,
That was a
Tyler.
perfect one, Tyler.
Let's get on into it. As always, the three of us are on. Josh Carey and David Bates as well.
Keep
Hope you
on
enjoy.
digging.
We are going to start with a comment or a thank you to Austin, a.k.a. Kev.
Kev.
Colin says, please tell Kev he is a genius. Tried the windows open, heat on legs tip. Pure brilliance. So if you don't know what we're talking about, the first cold morning we had, cold-ish, a few weeks ago, we were talking about it and Austin said, oh, on my way in, I had my heat on, windows down.
Heat on the legs.
Heat on the
Windows down on the
legs.
top. Colin, you get me now. You understand what I'm saying?
Finally, Colin, you
Yes,
get
Call.
him.
It's good to hear from you, Call. Hope you're doing well. Hope your plants are doing well.
And if you had a convertible you were driving to work in the summer, you'd have the AC on with the top down.
Yes,
it's
you
the same,
would.
It's the same theory.
I think you need a convertible. You look pretty cool.
No, I'm not a convertible guy.
Really?
No,
Well, guys
man.
like
No, man.
guys like Austin and I realize that there's not going to be a future of there being hair blowing in the breeze.
That's right.
It just ain't going to happen.
no, it's not.
I mean, you could still feel the breeze on your head, though. Doesn't have to.
I always
be hair blowing
wear a
in the
ball
breeze.
cap, man. I always got the
It'll
ball
blow
cap.
right off in that convertible.
Oh,
Flip it around back, cruising down Collins Avenue, and
I'll
man,
come down
with-
Call's Avenue. Yeah, Call, I'm coming for you.
Okay.
But with heat on the legs and the
coming to get
the
you,
cool
Colin.
on the top.
Hope you're watching, Colin. Good morning. Haven't
morning,
seen you
Colin.
out here in a minute. All right, let's get into our questions. My coneflowers hardly grew at all this year and turned brown. They are in full sun. Any tips? I mean, mine stopped growing a whole lot when we didn't get rain. That was one thing in my garden that was well established, but hated not getting rain. And then they turned black this time of year for me. Like, they're just fried.
you're right. Like I'm wondering too. Like I mean, if they hardly grew at all, like that could have just been little periods of stress we've had this summer for sure. The lack of water for sure. Tyler, what did you tell me the other day? Something like we had like 32 days of 95 plus, right? Something crazy like that.
This year?
Yeah.
Yes, we've had more than 30 days of 95 plus degree temperatures.
That
Yes.
is wild.
And we would call that stressful.
Last
you
year
know.
we had 12.
Okay, so that's comparative. 12 versus 30, like that's a lot of days of stress. Okay, so
And I think it was the entire month of July when we were
No rain.
paving. It was,
Right.
it was hot.
yeah, it was hot. So
And
I'm
if
wondering.
it's not hot enough, put hot stuff under your feet. Fortunately, it's cooled off.
I'm wondering though if you're talking about like the leaves turn brown or the blooms turn brown. What can brown do for you?
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say, did the blooms go like black or brown, or was it the leaves that got like
It
crisp
Sounds
says
like
brown?
the thing
they
died.
hardly grew at all this year and turned brown.
Okay,
I had the
Again,
same experience.
This is what
Austin.
happened with mine. Yeah.
but are you talking leaves or blooms?
The whole thing. They
The
would
whole
bloom
plant.
and then, I mean, usually they'll bloom and then, it, what do you call it when it blooms out? Yes.
When
and
it
it
finishes
turns brown.
blooming. Yeah.
They got done blooming and they turned brown. The leaves turned brown. That's what mine look like.
You know,
right
one
now.
of the things that did happen this year is that we were very wet for the first half of the year. I mean, we really got, copious amount of rainfalls. It was never dry. About the time it would dry, we'd get really soaking rains. And so a lot of things that maybe flushed and did really well early on did less so once the faucet turned off. And so there could be that aspect of it, that it's just such a divergent amount of available moisture in the ground that if you weren't doing systematic additional applications of water, you probably had some plants that just didn't perform as well simply because they got spoiled to having all that available moisture. That would be my speculation.
And then they were like, what? I will say, especially with the rain we've had, if you look at the ground where your plant is coming out of the ground, you should see some new growth down there if it is doing well. So take a look,
You think
maybe
you
cut
could
it
just-
back.
Yeah, cut them back almost to the ground. And
Yeah, because my Echinacea kind of stays up, like not up, but I see green even through the winter. So it should have something if it's, still
If it's
doing
still with
okay.
it, yeah.
If it's still with the living. That's right. All right, best natives or cold hardy mix to plant along a new 8-foot fence. Mix of evergreen or color. That's a good mix of a lot of stuff. It sounds like
a lot of things
you could
we have
go
to hit.
wild.
Natives, cold hardy, new, evergreen
color.
and color.
And shaded by an 8-foot fence. Possibly.
Is it shaded?
Well, it
Depends
could
what direction.
Be, it could, yeah. It might not be like a wooden fence. It might be
Could
like
be
a
morning
cattle
sun,
fence.
could be afternoon sun, could be shade all the time.
Yeah, and a lot of the evergreen choices you would make would be based on available space. If you have a lot of lateral space where you got something you can stand the spreading, that would lean you towards certain choices. Or if the vertical height is, you don't want it to go beyond a certain point, that limits your choices. So a lot of it has to do with what you're trying to achieve, and then that information gives us the ability to say, well, within that scope, here are the things that are going to best meet those requirements. Tailored juniper is one of those. It meets two criteria. It's both a native and it's an evergreen, and it's a columnar plant. So if you're looking for something that, say, where the posts happen to be somewhere in that vicinity, you could put those there, and then you've got room for a
perfect example of when a picture would really help us out, folks.
Yeah.
So if you send the picture of this area to gardeninginsideout@gmail.com, picture's worth 1,000 words.
certainly, or at least 500.
Yes.
But you know
Or
what I can see a
1,200.
lot of times, what I love against the fence is getting an evergreen, but picking some evergreens, but also getting flowering plants with that. So like David just said with Taylor juniper, putting 3 like spaced out accordingly across the fence, and then filling in with like say Itea or something that's got excellent fall color, a great bloom period in the spring, nice glossy leaves, and it's native and it lives here. So making a little design against the fence is better than just like picking one thing and taking it the whole way down. If you ask me.
Chances are this fence is made of wood. I mean, I'm just conjecture here, but it's going to turn gray on you.
And not everybody in this world likes to line things up in one straight row, Josh. I don't know if you knew that or not. There are those that are.
Mrs. Carey?
I did not point that comment at anyone.
Okay.
That's your supposition.
That's not a supposition. I live that. Man. Come on. But if this fence is going to turn gray, think about the colors that you might mix with the grays.
Well, a blue Fitzer juniper. If you've got room for something that spreads, it's great contrasting colors, and it's that steel blue foliage with other things like Austin was talking about, Itea or other plants that will give you great contrasting color, and also things that have foliage throughout the year, but not necessarily everything. You don't need for everything to be evergreen.
What I love on a fence, Austin, is where they take the hanging plantings, hang them on the fence, and use some pottery or some metal and things like that, and mix it in there and let it roll in. So you make a visual interest on the fence structure as well.
There you go.
Yep, I agree with that. Even the use of vines is nice,
Right.
honeysuckle, but as long as you keep it in check. Keep that trellis kind of off the fence a little bit, but that makes a nice scene as well. So plenty of options for this.
Lots
see
of
a
options.
picture.
Just come out and see us.
Yeah.
How about that? Come
That's an
talk to all
option.
of us, take a walk around, look at all the things we have. Suggestions for part shade fall planters that may hold up through the winter. My favorite is heuchera. I've got that in my fall planters, which I did this week on my front porch with a little bit of creeping Jenny spilling down.
Okay. Part shade fall planters.
You got them right there in front of you too, by the way. Those.
Right here. Yep.
Yep.
And then, the great thing about heuchera, I mean, they do produce some flowers, but that's not where the show is.
It's
the show.
not.
The show is in the foliage, and the foliage is tremendous, and it lasts for such a long time. So
It does. And the flowers, I mean, like you said, it's not what the plant is all about, but they are really pretty, and they make for great cut flowers in an arrangement. They last a very, very long time. There they are. Look at them.
And bouncing color off of that color of the foliage with flowers, with pansies. Like you're saying, it's a part shade, but
There it
that
is,
also
pansies.
means part sun. So, I mean, bouncing white pansies off of that dark purple like money. Money.
We talked a lot about pansies last week.
We did. Joyce, shout out. Hope you're okay.
Hope you're okay after last week.
Yeah.
Maybe Joyce came out and got some white pansies. Who knows? Joyce, chime in. Let us know. Let's restart this conversation. All right. Other than leafy greens, what veggies or herbs can I plant for fall harvest?
You know what's one that we never really talk about much that's really good for the fall?
What?
Cilantro.
Cilantro is great. I should get some cilantro seeds.
I mean, if you can
now that
find
said
it,
that.
yeah, that's going to be the thing. If you can find it, but cilantro bolts so quick in the summertime months here in Middle Tennessee. But if you do it in the fall, like planting it now, getting a month or two out of it really explodes growth, and it makes for a lot.
It's a great
of
pot
leaves.
plant also, just to have that on the patio. I mean, it's just a
Smells
wonderful.
so good.
Hey,
It's so
can't-
wonderful.
It's just, I think herbs lend themselves well to that. And certainly, they will grow in the ground. Also,
Even if you can't find plants, you might be able to find seed and put it in. If it comes up, you'll be okay. Next spring, my cilantro this year in the spring was amazing.
I love growing
But like you
cilantro.
said, it got to be about April 15th, and
And it bolted on you.
Yep.
That's what it does. Yeah. So if you like David said, if you put it in a pot, like it's great because if we do get a late or a normal frost, once we start coming into like Halloween time or whatever, and you see that we're going to have frosty temps, just bring it in your house overnight. Let those frosty temps go away, and then the next day you've got, if you've got the weather that jumps up a little bit, put it right back outside. Like it can be grown for a long time.
oh yeah, I'm going with kale this year.
It's never a bad time of year to add Earth Mix to your garden. Earth Mix garden products are sustainably sourced, living soils and amendments crafted to give you the best success for your gardening efforts. Establishing a raised bed? Use Garden Premium Topsoil Blend for an excellent performing growing medium for flowers and vegetables. Amend your gardens with their supernatural compost with all the nutrients needed to recharge existing soils. For houseplants, their Proganics Indoor Grow Mix is a fantastic potting medium that will feed for up to 6 months without the need for additional fertilizer. Earth Mix is sold only at independent garden centers, so head over to earthmix.net/find Earthmix to locate one near you. Success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products.
What is it time for?
I don't know.
What's in bloom? With Austin. Don't play games with me.
Hey, Tyler, you did
You
great.
were on it today,
You
Tyler.
were. You know what's not on it though? Like not anything like great and new in bloom all that much. I got a couple things.
Are you mad about it?
Yeah, I'm kind of mad. We're in that weird stage, okay, where some things are still blooming, some things are tired, whatever. You know what? Here we go.
Here we go.
The sedum. I saw you
buckle
brought
up.
some sedum in the room today.
I did.
You're going to talk about that later. Sedum is still really full show, really pretty. Love me some sedum. Good old succulent. Can't beat
easy
it.
to grow.
Can I just talk about? I'm gonna steal your spotlight for 1 second.
Go on.
Tyler and I yesterday I was getting a photo to put on Instagram, and we walked over to the sedum that's in full bloom, looking gorgeous right now. And there were bees just sleeping all over it around 8 o'clock yesterday morning. So cute. I made a cute little reel that's got Tyler's voice in it.
Nice.
Okay, wait.
On the Instagram.
And speaking of reels, where is that reel where we've gotten like 500,000 views on it? I mean,
It's on the Bates Nursery Instagram.
on the Bates Nursery Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking at Gardening Inside Out Instagram. That's why I couldn't find
We
it.
got lots of places to look.
Yeah,
still
we're
out
all
there.
over the internet. All right,
going.
Continue.
Okay. Echinacea, if yours isn't brown for some reason, they're still showing some blooms. Okay, Helianthus. This is like a perennial sunflower, Caroline calls it, and that's a good name for it. It's still blooming really.
You see it on the side of the road. It's
Yes.
time to shine.
It
All
is
of those
tall.
yellow, not all of them, but a lot of the big, tall, like Austin said, everywhere.
Yeah.
Just fields of them out where I live.
Yeah, they're huge. You know, canna lilies are still blooming. Like, they still are. It's been like 2 months on those. I've been talking about that, okay? Hey, your hydrangeas, your panicles, and your endless summers are still throwing some blooms, but starting to get brown. They're starting to get there. Okay, Rosa Sharon and crepe myrtle, those are our trees. Those are still going. Mimosa is about done. I didn't really see any this morning. There's still probably a few out there that are still blooming.
I bet there's some.
Bridge, your grasses are still going off. Clematis, my clematis is still in bloom right now. Really, really looking nice. I mean, like a lot of blooms on it, actually. It's good. It's been a great rebloom. Honeysuckle, when it comes to the vines, the honeysuckles are still blooming. They're looking good. Hey, you know, I saw a weird thing. Sometimes plants bloom when weather mimics spring. So I saw laurels and weigela. Both of those. Old weigela. We call them wiggles. Okay, when we see them, we wiggle a little bit.
We wiggle.
Those are reblooming a little bit right now.
It's very little, by the way.
Very little wiggle. Okay?
But getting a little bit.
They're getting there. Okay, Caroline told me that goldenrod is goldenrod is in bloom, and then Caroline, what did you say?
Everywhere. It's a keystone plant.
A keystone plant. This means it is so impactful to our environment.
It's one of our natives. It's something that everybody should have. I have kind of a field of it in the back of my property. I love it. We actually have a keystone plant area here at the nursery that Bridge, shout out to Bridget, has put together. It's fantastic.
But everything she does is fantastic.
Everything she does. And I will say as well, Rachel and Mary
No.
both have been working on the website, and we have a Keystone little tab on the website where if you're wondering what those are, if you want to really plant for the environment, head to that website.
There it is, right
Talk to
there.
Bridge.
There it is.
Click on that, all the keystone plants
Yes,
come up. So.
and the goldenrod is one of those.
There are many.
I'm sure the ironweed, that's another one that's in bloom, y'all. I'm sure it's probably
it
up
is.
there as well.
Yeah.
And then, hey, those fall blooming things that we all think about, the asters, the mums, the pansies,
I love my asters.
all going at it. I'm okay with asters. Asters are a little rangy for me, not necessarily
Nobody
my
ever
favorite.
calls them dumb asters, though.
No.
Right?
No.
Austin
they
might.
don't.
Austin might.
And then when it comes to the annuals, I saw one this morning that just hit me. I wasn't going to talk about annuals much today, but one hit me this morning, and it's the marigolds. Hey, shout out
Yeah.
marigolds.
That's the first time you've ever given marigolds a shout out.
Yeah, you're right, because I
Yes.
don't really like them all that
I
much.
love
but
them.
they are certainly in bloom. We have some here in pots at the nursery that have blooms, y'all, like half my head. Not full face, but like half.
Not full face,
like
Kev.
half.
Imagine if we could get flowers with your face in them.
No.
That would be cool.
I think we should do
that would be cool.
an edition of the entire program where we all shout throughout the entirety of it.
I think we'd lose a lot of viewers. A lot of viewers would be like, I don't know if I could handle it. Hey, I will say, I was somewhere last night where I had done some planters for a business, and I had put trailing lantana in it. That got a little bit tired when we got really, really hot.
Right.
It wasn't really blooming. It is in full show right now, with the temperatures having dipped a little bit, not with even that much rain, and I know they're not getting water.
Yeah, mine came
But
back.
it is fully in bloom, full show, looking gorgeous. Yeah, just wanted to give lantana a little shout
Sometimes
out.
you just got to be patient and let a little time pass.
I need to put pansies there, but I don't know. The lantana looks so good right now. I don't
We've
want to
talked
rip it
about
out.
this. We've talked about this.
I know.
And deeply, we've talked
We've
about this.
deeply spoken
You
about
got to get
this.
the pansies in, Caroline.
I'm going to give it a little while. It'll be okay.
All right.
It'll be fine. It'll be
right.
great. But is that what?
That's what's in bloom.
Is that all?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
That's
I'm
all
kidding.
I've got, okay?
My
Took a
windflower
lot.
is still not open, but it's about to be.
Oh, anemone.
It's taken a long time.
We did a video the other day with our no
And I
doubt,
have
and
such
you
a
had
hard
it.
time saying that word.
So-
And now you had to bring it up.
We've gotten really good at our. We have a little segment on Instagram we call the No Down, and we answer your questions every week. Every Thursday we do this, and we've gotten pretty good. We're like one take wonders now. Not gonna lie, but the other day
Sometimes not so much.
Caroline,
It was like six
it took
takes.
like 6 takes for her to be able to say anemone.
Anemone.
But it was
It's
hilarious.
too hard.
Doesn't
It's a
help that
hard
I was
word.
feeding her terrible.
Well, and then Tyler was like, think about it like this, Amy, me. And
Yeah.
he would say things, and I'm like, but that's not what it sounds like.
I said, and enemy. And I was like, no, that's anemone.
Yeah.
Any money?
It's like
Don't listen to me.
It's like trying to say unique New York
Oh, no.
3 times quickly. You twist your tongue in directions that don't normally go back.
Start tripping over your mouth.
Unique New York. All right. Well, that was a great What's in Bloom.
It
segment.
was okay.
It was great.
Eh.
It was great. I'm proud of you.
It's kind of like what's going on out there. It's like not great, but it's something.
What's going on out there? I think we should change it to that. All right, let's get to another question. We got one last week that we did not get to that came in from Google. What causes the white hardcore in tomatoes? I grew beefsteak for the first time this year, and they were getting over 1 pound after picking. When they ripened, I was lucky to get much out of the tomato due to the hardcore and its rooting into the seed sections. Interesting. What causes the hard white core?
What
in
was the variety
tomatoes?
that they got?
Said beefsteak.
Beefsteak.
What do they mean rooting into the?
Sometimes I've seen seeds like germinate within the fruit, so that
I mean, I've seen that too. I've seen that with peppers and
Yeah,
tomatoes
that-
before.
And
Sounds like
and
that
a
could
lot
be
of
it.
those big fruiting
Have to
tomato,
have
they have a very
Very
hard center.
thick
or
core,
big,
yeah.
So You know, you would love in your mind to vision these huge slices that one piece will cover an entire.
That's why it
BLT.
charges you $17 for it at Morton's.
But the reality is doesn't always match up to
Right.
that, unfortunately.
Right.
So, as far as why that does it, I think it has to do with just a particular plant,
Yeah.
perhaps more prevalent in certain varieties, and that may be one of them. But all of the bigger tomatoes are somewhat susceptible to it. Generally, the bigger they are, they seem to be worse about it. And the later in the season you go, the worse it gets. The early ones not so much.
I will say too, though, it's like they have a pound of tomato. Like one tomato is a pound. Like, hey, you're doing pretty good, even if you've got a white center. Like, use
Big
the
old
edges.
tomato.
I mean, a beefsteak tomato is like,
That's what they make a paring knife for, right?
yeah, exactly. Like get what you get. You
Get
know?
what you get.
Don't throw a fit. Like if you got a little bit of a white core, like use the edges of it. You got a whole pound to play with. You know, it's like beefsteak is like fantastic. Like that tomato is so good. So just eat the red stuff.
Eat the red stuff. Hey, while we're on tomatoes, I don't know, Tyler, have you told everybody that you did harvest your one tomato and you ate it?
I didn't eat it.
You
But
didn't eat it?
Not yet.
It's still ripening in the window.
Well, you're supposed to bring it in, and we're gonna eat it together. That was the whole thing.
That was the whole thing that
Yeah.
I've been resisting this entire time because you brought it up and it was not my idea.
You have a
So-
brown lunch bag at home?
Well, let's just wait a few more weeks
Tyler,
till
do
it's
you-
your idea. How about that?
And then you eat it.
It's rather red. I checked it this
Tyler
morning.
has gone through a lot to get one single tomato.
This
we
is my
convinced him
only tomato this entire year.
we convinced him to finally grow a tomato because we were like, "You're in the South, you got to grow it." He did
But
it.
you didn't mean for him to literally grow a
tomato.
tomato. It was just the way it worked.
Yeah, well, about 3 or 4 were squirrel donations.
Oh,
Yeah. Then he had
You
a
know.
worm on him.
Which is what my figs are. They're squirrel feeders.
Ooh. Do you have
squirrel
a,
feeders.
Tyler, do you have a brown paper bag at your house?
I
Maybe a lunch sack?
don't.
You don't?
I mean, occasionally I'll have a giant, grocery bag. Will that work?
Seal it
I
up
mean,
tight.
is it the ethylene gas thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works, man.
It does work. I've used
It
it
works
a lot
great.
for avocados.
Yep.
Hey, Joyce did chime in.
Yep.
on
Hi,
this.
Joyce.
Hey, Joyce.
I've already
Joyce.
seen, he saw the response and he smiled real big. Joyce says, I thought about coming to get some white pansies, but I didn't make it. A week without shopping at Bates. I'm going through withdrawal.
Oh, no.
Joyce, we'll see you next week. Maybe today.
Probably today.
Probably today.
Joyce,
come
you're
on
coming out today.
Maybe Joyce will make the choice.
Go on, put on the shoes.
Wow. Joyce will make the choice. Go home, put on the shoes, get out.
Put on your
Finish
shoes.
watching the broadcast, and then get in your
Okay.
car.
You could even do slides.
And
You don't
come
have to
on
tie the shoes up.
You're right.
Oh,
Slide them on.
Just
head
slide
out.
them on. Head
Crocs,
out.
man. Crocs, baby.
Turbo
All
mode.
right, let's get to a new
Crocs.
question. My green giants were blown down twice in the windstorm of 23. I staked them back up, and they are living well, but how long should I leave them staked for? It's been over a year and a half.
Should be good.
Should be
now.
good, I would think. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to feel them, y'all. You have to go out. You have to get into that, foliage, grab the main stem, and kind of wiggle it and see how it feels. If it's still kind of wiggly, then I'd leave the stake on. If not, and it feels like, oh God, that thing is like rooted, then take the stake out.
Yep.
You kind of have to you
Just
got to
feel it
get
out.
to know it.
Wiggle it. We've already talked about wiggling.
Wiggles.
So let's come back around to that. Wiggles.
And one of the things that is can be an issue with particularly container grown plants, which you find green giant arborvitaes are not exclusively, but they're predominantly grown in a container plant, is that sometimes the soils that they are grown in is not as dense as native soil. So they do have the propensity, if you have a lot of wind, they can get a little bit loose in there. So that can require, particularly if you have a wind event like occurred last year, to have to do that. But after about a year and a half, you should be good. I would think so.
Really?
I mean,
You would think.
most of the time when you're staking newly planted trees, about a year is all you have to. But since they did get loosened up, you want that trunk to be able to get fully rooted back in, and so that it doesn't wiggle at all. I would suggest trying to unloosen them, and don't remove the stakes or the guy wires. Just release it for a bit to kind of go, oh, yeah, because it's kind of hard to tell while it's all still attached to the guying system that you've got in place. So I would try doing that, and if it feels good, then do it.
Do it.
If it feels good,
Go
then do
for
it. All right, we got a live question in from Laurel on Facebook. I'm looking for some advice for my mom's 3 crabapple trees planted in January. They get full sun, but they look terrible. Leaves are turning yellow with brown spots. Is there anything she could do, or do we wait until next spring? And then she says, thanks, y'all.
Hey, Laurel.
September
Morning,
15th, man.
Hey, Laurel, you're randomly blooming right now a little bit, which is cool. I talked about that earlier. But anyway, hey, Laurel,
Very
look.
great.
Crab apples this year have been bad. I don't know why, but specifically crab apples have looked rough since the summer until now. And a lot of them like fully almost defoliated, like a lot. So if you still have some leaves, you're still doing okay. And I know the brown spots and the yellow, it's been very stressful for crab apple this year. I don't know why. All around town, I've noticed this. So, yes, you're going to have to wait until next spring. The leaves are going to drop off soon, like very soon, probably within the month. And they're going to just drop everything. Hopefully, if you look along those stems, you will see active buds that are going to crack next spring. Okay, that's what we're after now. But honestly, this summer has just been very stressful for crab apple. Like,
It's been a
specifically.
stressful summer for us all.
All of us.
All of us.
But crab apple really took it on the chin for some reason.
Buddy.
Yeah.
No.
And it's this is the time of year when people bring leaves to us and go, "What's wrong?" It's September.
Exactly.
It's the end of the season, and if it's a deciduous plant, regardless of what type of plant it is that drops its foliage, it's going to drop its foliage. It's going to go away soon, so you don't have to really fret about it. It's it'll probably happen again next year. Many deciduous plants start looking a little on the ratty side. That's why they're deciduous, so they can get rid of that bad-looking foliage. And
It's the first thing, one of the first things to wake up too. So it's probably going to be one of the first things to go to bed.
you get that spectacular flush of new growth, which with so many things is just outstanding, and that's part of it.
Yep.
That's why you don't want all one thing in your garden. You want a variety of textures and colors and all those things.
All of the things. I have all of the things. No, I don't. I need more things.
No, you don't.
I
So much.
I planted a new tree this week, which I will talk about in the What's in Rooms segment. So let's get to a new question. Leaves on my fiddle leaf fig are dirty. Suggestions for cleaning. This happens this time of year, or all time of year, really. But if you've put them outside, they do tend to get a little bit dusty, especially right before you bring them back in. You're going to want to clean those leaves. So I use that time to inspect for pests, but I will just take a microfiber towel and dampen it. You don't need anything. You don't need leaf shine. I really don't like that stuff. I don't think it's great for your plants.
Not even mayonnaise.
Not even, not like you treat your hair. You don't want any of that. So just wipe off
quarterback
that
for the
leaf. I'll
Titans,
usually
yeah.
put my hand under the leaf, bring that microfiber towel on top so you can give it a little bit pressure so you don't hurt that, and just wipe it down. It should bring that dust off. Now, if there are water spots or anything on the leaf, you can add like a little bit of lemon juice, and that will help remove those.
Tiny amount.
But a tiny amount. But all you need is that microfiber towel to just shine them on up. That's what we use in the garden center. We don't go crazy with anything. Some people use neem oil to clean their leaves. Yeah, it gives it a shine, but it's going to smother those leaves a little bit. And if your plant is getting direct sunlight, it might burn it. So I really only use neem when I need it. You don't have to use a lot of stuff.
You know, some say there ain't no cure for the summertime blues. But we say Bates Nursery is. Located in Nashville, Tennessee, Bates Nursery and Garden Center is a separate world unto itself. They feature the widest variety of plants, including trees, shrubs, native plants, perennials, houseplants, and specimen evergreens. Their knowledgeable staff will assist you with any gardening needs, catering to any experience level. Open year-round, and Caroline, tell them how to get here.
Bates Nursery is located minutes from downtown Nashville off Briley Parkway, exit 19 in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. You'll see it's worth the drive from anywhere. No time to visit the nursery? Shop online with delivery and pickup options available for the greater Middle Tennessee area at www.batesnursery.com.
So if you want to learn a lot about living and a little about love, visit Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
All right, we got a live question in from Terry. Terry asks, when the evening temps drop, I like to bring my plants indoors for the season. Do you have any recommendations to not bring the bugs into the house as well? This is a great question. We actually got a question about when is it time to start bringing your houseplants in.
3:30.
This is the 3:30. Yeah, 3:30 every day this time of year. If you have a lot of plants like I do, you're going to have to bring them in all the time. But right now, I'm making space in my house for all of the plants that need to come back inside. And I'm starting to bring them in. I try to get them in before mid-October. Sometimes it's Halloween, and I'm in a frantic rush to get them inside before they freeze. But before you bring them in, I always suggest just looking the plant down, like I talked about earlier with cleaning the leaves. Take that microfiber towel, wipe off the leaves, clean it up, and that lets you see if there's any pests or any problems with your plant before you bring it inside, because we don't want those pests coming in. They're going to take over all of the plants through the winter. Everything. Now, I do know some people, I don't do this. I like to keep my plants all natural unless I need to use something that will actually just pre-treat them with a systemic treatment and then bring them in. So if they do have a pest, that will kill the pest once they are inside. So if you're worried about it, that is an option. Here at the nursery, we have a granular systemic that you just put into the soil, and then the plant feeds on that. It poisons the pests that are on the plant and they die. But really just cleaning it and observing
Scale
should be fine.
Scale and mealybugs are the two worst. I mean, they will you just stop looking for like a few days, and all of a sudden, everything has.
Oh my God!
Everything.
I've seen some big old nasty scale in my time on plants.
Ooh, you didn't smush
I found
them,
one like this big.
Did you smush it?
No. Oh, that makes me want to throw up. Gosh. Some of them can be so gross. Some of them look really, really cool. They look like characters on Mario Kart. Like the little shells.
Yes.
Really neat. If you put them under the scope that we have here at the nursery, you can see all the patterns on them. Some of them are really pretty. But they're pretty evil as well.
Yes.
All right, we got a lot of questions about transplanting and dividing. So let's go ahead and get on that. Miriam asks, how do I transplant a peony? And is now the best time?
She can bring it to my house.
I don't think she's going to bring it to your house. I'm going to I think I'm going to transplant my Itos, and I'm going to wait until and I think I'm going to wait till October to do so.
Yeah, like we talk about all the time, Miriam. Hello, Miriam. How are you? Hope you're good.
Good morning.
We're going to wait till those leaves just get gross and awful. They're going to lay down on the ground once frost comes around. Mm-hmm. You're going to cut them back, and then you're going to transplant and move that peony. And they're easy.
Or the peony, either one.
Either one.
Mm-hmm. You can do it. Mm-hmm. All right, when do I divide my hosta? They have gotten too big. This is something I'm about to do, divide my striptease and maybe a few more. Same thing with when I'm going to transplant my peony if I decide to do so. I'm going to wait till like October, November. I mean, I'm going to leave the leaves up even once they die so I can see where it is. Mm-hmm. And then I will divide it, get it into its new home. It should be fine. I actually transplanted a bunch of hosta in December of last year, and they did great.
Yeah.
They came right up in the spring. They were even bigger than the year before. Hey, let's get one more question in before we run out of time. What's a good small evergreen for Zone 7 to place within a mixed border for verticality?
Whoa.
A small one for verticality?
Uh-huh. So I guess it stays compact, but it grows up.
Yeah.
I believe this comes from Miriam as well.
Dwarf Alberta spruce.
Yeah, that comes to mind. There's some junipers, I guess, that come to mind, but I don't know how tall we want to go.
Ooh, Miriam, you gave us a...
Miriam, come out here.
Yes.
Give me a hug, and then we're going to talk. Okay?
First hug and then talk.
First hug, then talk about this spot you're talking about.
And our final question, I want to get one more in.
Uh-oh.
Low-growing evergreen suggestions to give my garden a little color in the winter. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Juniper.
All gold juniper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mine are so good right now, and they look
Love that
so
plant.
good in the winter.
Uh-huh.
We could have some mother load in by the first of the week with the
Yeah.
Isley truck. You know, they always have some cool there. And there's also a golden blue Pacific cultivar type. Is that?
Yeah. Golden Pacific.
Golden Pacific.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That one's great.
There's a lot.
A lot of options.
While they last, they don't last very long.
No, they go quick.
People take them away.
All righty. Music means that we're done.
Hey, that was
if we
another
did
quick
not
one.
get to your question, we will clean up the house next Saturday morning when we come back to do another Gardening Inside Out program. For everybody here at Gardening Inside Out, we thank you for participating and joining us on Saturday morning. Like us, share us, subscribe, do all the stuff that you can, and we'll be here to see you right from the Green Room Studio at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. See you later.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.